Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 3. Hopefully, everybody is learning how to go through all sections of each module to make sure that absolutely everything is complete. That's the best way to make sure you don't miss any assignments, any quizzes, any discussions, everything like that. So, I'm going to be following along PowerPoint 3, which is written correspondence. So, this is going to be a portion of our nonverbal communication, going over letter writing and how important this can be to go through patient communication. So, as we're starting with slide 1, we're talking about written correspondence. So, that is what is written. That could either be via actual writing, handwriting, emails, social media, any digital formatting, tablets. Things like that. So we could have things that are printed, that is either a letter, an appointment card, or a brochure that we create in the practice, or web based on social media, on our forms that could be digital, and any patient communication reminders that are sent via text message and email. So even though that is the fastest, easiest, is most used way of communicating digitally, there's still things that we write and print out, and that is used in the office today. So we're going to be talking mostly about letter writing. Something to jot down is something important that's going to be on future quizzes, as well as your final, is make sure that all things in a really great professional business letter are going to be the 5 C's. So that means that all of the information is correct, that in the letter writing you speak clearly, you're concise, you're always courteous, no matter what type of letter it can be. So it could be a collection letter, still has to be courteous and considerate. So these can be different forms. So, like I said, it could be in either a letter and email that we're sending out, that we're writing in a statement or a report. All of that can be a form of business letters. So, more info that you want to keep note for future assignments and tests is letter writing style. So, the different components of the letter. So one is going to be the appearance. It's going to be the first impression, what you look at, the color. I know, especially with sending out mail now, is there's so much spam mail out there. You want to make sure that you're setting yourself apart from all the other spam mail, because I know what they're doing nowadays now is making everything look handwritten, even though it's printed from a computer. That way you're more likely to open up the letter. But now so many people are getting those that, they're seeing it as spam. So you want to make sure that yours is set apart for their first impression, that they know it's from your practice. Stationery is huge in that. So you want to make sure that you have your logo and your letterhead, that it's in a good place, and that way they can see as soon as they open the letter, they know exactly who it's from. You want to make sure that you're doing, everything typed. And if you do so, it's going to be in black ink. So it has to be spaced correctly, no errors. So again, you want to correct, clear, and concise, all in that. And it's going to have a specific formatting. So we're going to get into formatting a little bit later. You should have paragraphing, so it shouldn't be written all in one big chunk. That way the letter flows and it's easier to read. And you have white empty space surrounding the text so that it's all balanced. So just, usually a Word document will format it for you to have the spacing around accurately. So, letter style. So, this is something that you also want to keep note of, the definitions of tone and outlook. So, the tone is going to set the mood of the letter. What is the tone of the letter? Think of it as movies, books. What is the tone? What is the voice of what you're reading? The outlook is going to be how you're presenting the information in a positive way. So you want to keep the patient positive. Again, even if you're sending it asking for collections that they owe to you, it still has to be in a positive tone. And usually they tell you in school a lot, right? Don't use the letter U or I. Well, in this case, you do want to personalize it. A lot of practices will have already made up templates for things like asking for payments or, checking in on your patients. you'll have a template, but you want to make sure it sounds personalized to that patient. Like it's only being sent to them, it's not being duplicated for other patients. So, you don't want it to feel like copy and pasted. It wanted you can make a template, but still make it feel personalized. And you want to make sure that you're organizing in different paragraphs. The first one getting their attention and introducing of what you're writing the letter for. Middle area is going to be the second paragraph. It's going to explain mostly what you're doing. And at the end, you're going to wrap it up and conclude how you're going to finish off the letter. Moving down to letter style format. So this is something that you're going to get a lot of practice with. And again, you're going to want to keep note of for any quizzes in the future is go through all the definitions of the different letter styling formats and make sure you know the difference between each one. So for example, full blocked, if you look at the sample letter on the slide, everything is pushed all the way to the left. You can ignore the top right because that's part of the stationery. So that is going to be something that's automatically put on the piece of paper that you're printing on. But everything else is going to be all the way to the left-hand side of the piece of paper. And then, for example, the simplified, it's just going to be a lot shorter than this document. So you want to go ahead and go through all of those, make sure you know the differences between all, as well as there's more details in your book as well. So these are all things you might want to make little flashcards for, especially for the difference part of the business letter. The letterhead, that's going to be either part of the stationery or something that's addressed all the way at the top. So if we go back to slide 4, on the top right hand side, it has the name of the practice, the address, the telephone number. That is going to be the letterhead. The date is going to show the date that the letter was written. The inside address is going to be the address of the reader. So that you want to make sure that there is a difference between the letterhead, which is the address of the practice, and the inside address, which is the address of the person that you're sending it to. And then the attention line is going to show you the name of the person that you're addressing the letter to. So if we go back to slide 4, it says, "Dear Mr. Thompson." That is going to be your attention line. And then your salutation is going to be, whether it be hello, good morning, glad to hear from you. It's the dear portion of that. And so that's going to be on there. And then the subject line is going to be the subject of the letter that you're sending. Moving on to slide 6. We have the body of the letter, so that's going to be the middle portion of what you're writing, the actual information of what you're writing the patient to. The complimentary closing all the way at the end. Usually it's sincerely. I like to keep, again, the letter positive. I like to end all of my letters in to keep smiling, and then I put my name instead of sincerely, so it doesn't sound like such a generic letter. But sincerely is always the safest thing to end your letter with, your emails, things like that. Then you're going to have your signature line where the person writing the letter is going to put their information. Reference initials, this is just going to be for the person that is either typing it out if it's not the same person sending the letter, or the person sending it. As you can see, this is going to be something really important. Remember this for your quiz. See how it shows the slash or colon. That's going to be a giveaway. You're going to be given examples in quizzes, finals, assignments of what is reference initials, and it will include that slash or colon in next to initials. So I'll show you that when the time gets closer. So make sure you're taking down all these definitions if you have to make flashcards for them to keep in mind, as well as, on your study guide, I'll show you to reference back to your PowerPoints. That way you have all of the information right in front of you when you're studying. Different punctuation, you're going to be asked to practice these. So open punctuation means you're not putting anything. There's no periods at the end of sentences. There's no comma. It's just everything's out there. You're not starting or ending each sentence with anything. It just doesn't have any punctuations. Standard punctuation is just like you would normally write a sentence and then a period and then a capital letter to start the new sentence. So that is standard. So you want to make sure that that is more simple, open, not having anything, and then standard is what we would normally put in a letter. Just an example on number 8, on how to fold a letter if you ever have to do that. I know it seems really ancient, but you still have to do them in the office. Folding a letter properly is actually, again, really important. It sets aside too from that spam mail that I was talking to you about. So there is an example in your book of folding that letter. And then I think this is things that we do on a daily basis, making sure that we're keeping all forms of communication professional. So it's easy to do that in a written letter, as we were talking about, having templates, having all those letters that you're writing that's already been pre-written. You're just putting in the sender's name or, like minor information. You're just kind of plugging in people's information. It gets a little more difficult when we're doing things freehand, like referrals, emails, text messages, and letter templates. So let's talk about patient referrals. So this is a little sheet. If you're working in a general practice, you may be sending patients to ortho, or if they have a really bad toothache, you might be sending them to get a root canal done, or oral surgery, things like that. One thing that you should know is on referral slips, this is something that you're going to be giving to your patient, or if not, sending via email, and your patient may see. So you don't want to write anything on a referral slip that you don't want your patient to see. For example, we, in my practice, we are a general practice and we refer kids to pedo if they're extra antsy or they just can't sit still, or the parent really really wants them to have some sedation to get through a difficult procedure. You don't want to write on your referral, difficult patient, doesn't cooperate, just really negative wording, right? You don't want to be negative, as we talked about earlier. You want to make sure to present a positive outlook, clear. You just want to write other positive words. So for a kid, I would just say needs further intervention from a specialist, or something different that is not going to see them in a negative light, because you don't want anybody to get upset, or difficult to work with. Anything like that is not positive. It's not positive, don't write it down. Just, have you heard that saying, is if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. That goes as far as anything written correspondence in the office. Same thing with emails. You want to make sure that anything that you put in there, it is professional, that you're typing it up accurately, and that everything's very secure. Especially with emails, you don't want to make sure anything gets out there for HIPAA reasons. So you want to make sure it's sent in a secure location, because you are sending out really private information like treatment plans, x-rays, financials, things to referring doctor. Sometimes I can't get to patients via text message, in person, on the phone. So I do send them an email, but I make sure that it's secure. That way they can't say, well, this was meant for me and my kid read it, or, this was meant for me and my husband read it and I didn't want him to know that I was getting this type of treatment done. Things like that. You have to make sure it's secure for that patient. One main thing is going to be two-way texting. So with how commonly we're texting now, using shorthand like IDK for I don't know. There's so much different shorthand. It's not recommended to do that via text message with the patient, again, because we want to keep everything professional and we want to make sure that everybody understands. And you want to make sure not to overshare in a text message, because we don't want any HIPAA violations. So that pretty much sums up our letter writing, written correspondence PowerPoint. You're going to be practicing using some worksheets this week, and then more so in lab. So go ahead and make sure that you answer your key takeaways from today, and we will be seeing each other very soon. Have a good day.